Hey there everyone, happy Sunday. I'm King 5 Meteorologist Adam Claibon. So the first day of 3 days that we're going to see with the heat has pretty much already made its way through. We're starting to see temperatures cool down here into Sunday evening and into the day on Monday. Do expect it to be another pretty warm to borderline to maybe even just downright hot day that's going to be ahead. So we're going to talk about that, how long this heat is going to be sticking around, because we do have advisories out for it. Overnight lows too are going to be pretty warm. We'll get into the details of that, plus talk about the cool down coming in later into the week, along with maybe some shower chances coming back to the area. Let's go ahead and talk about the highs for today. We are in first alert mode. That's why you see that red banner right up there at the top, and you can see highs today. They were up there. A lot of upper 80s to low 90s around Puget Sound, the Kitsap Peninsula, and parts southward. Now, up around Snohomish County, that's going to be the difference. There from Everett and northward, our temperatures won't be as extreme as what you're going to see farther to the south. But we even saw 80s all the way out towards the south coast. 80 degrees today there in Hoquiam. So again, yes, we are in first alert mode. We're going to have a couple of pretty warm nights ahead tonight into early Monday morning, and then again Monday night into early Tuesday morning. We're going to see the heat begin to ease as we head into the latter half of the day on Tuesday and throughout Tuesday night. Temperatures, for the most part, we're going to see highs around some of those key areas I told you about, from Seattle and more of Bremerton southward, in the mid to upper 80s and the lower 90s. And we are going to include pretty much everyone here in the lowlands here across western Washington and the foothill communities as well. And you kind of will see that here kind of mapped out on the advisory. Let's talk about that 7-day forecast. Monday and Tuesday, both first alert days. The highs in the upper 80s to low 90s. Check out the lows too, because that's going to make it pretty difficult to try to cool down and try to get some relief during the overnight. Mid 60s. That's it for some of us here around some of the larger cities. And then we do cool down a bit more heading into Wednesday. Highs in the mid 70s there. More of that to come by the end of the week and heading on into the weekend. Highs back in the lower 70s, and some showers too could be back into the picture as we head on into that time. Wanted to give you a look out here towards La Push, because sometimes we can at least see a little bit of a marine layer coming in and that air mass that will be cool and refreshing coming off of the Pacific. Not the case. It's all clear all the way out there. Offshore flow, you can thank that for that. We have that in place out there and across this way around Bellingham. Plenty of sunshine warming things up, and down this way around Tacoma as well. Gorgeous shot though of Mount Rainier. Not too much of that smoke haze in the sky, but that's something we're going to talk about here coming up. Our camera down there in Everett, but overall our forecast here as we head on into more of this evening will be these clear skies like you see currently in Seattle. Heading on into the night, temperatures falling from the 80s where they are right now as of about 7 to 8 o'clock down into the 60s by early tomorrow morning. Here's a 24-hour temperature change, and you can see where we have the biggest difference up that way across Clallam County and the San Juans, where our temperatures are up right now by about 10 to 15 degrees. That's quite the change. The rest of us up by about 5 to 10 degrees, and that puts us generally in the upper 80s in many spots farther south, lower 80s around Port Angeles, 80 degrees in Quileute. Right now sitting at 78 again, a little more relief up that way around Bellingham. Here's radar, and we don't have anything really to report on there. As we zoom out, we do have some showers up across BC and more so Alberta, and that system is going to be diving down to the south and to the east. So you'll notice that this one is going to completely miss us. If it was heading a bit more south, then maybe we can get some relief out of this, but it's heading in that direction right there. So nothing on the way for us this term as rainfall, and definitely not much relief when it comes to any sort of this heat. High pressure, that's right there across the Pacific, still going to be the dominant feature for us. So let's talk about this heat advisory. We do have that in place for us. That is in effect until 10 p.m. on Tuesday. Our lows are going to be in the 60s. We'll also notice those highs in the mid to upper 80s to maybe even some low 90s. Now you can see this pretty much covers all the areas here in the western Washington lowlands, where we don't see it right along the immediate coastline there for areas closer to areas such as Quileute or Forks or Nia Bay. You are kind of outside of this area itself, but it's still going to be really warm out there. Plus, you'll notice, too, the Admiralty Inlet getting up there across the extreme northeastern tip of the Olympic Peninsula, and then more so across Camano and Whidbey Island, up across the San Juan Islands as well. Dodging the intense heat, but still going to be really warm here these next couple of days, especially in comparison to where we normally are. And then you'll see this extend up towards Bellingham. Not the worst of the heat there, Whatcom County, but I think we're still dealing with highs in the 80s again, heading on into the day for tomorrow. And then really seeing the worst stuff as you get closer to King County and areas southward. So as we look at futurecasts, you'll see that the winds are coming in more so from the north and northeasterly direction. That's an offshore flow. That's an air mass that's coming more so off of the land. That is going to be much warmer during this time of the year. Here we are at 10 o'clock tomorrow. We can still kind of see more of that. And we continue on into the afternoon, 3 p.m. A little bit of a shift trying to come back from more of the west, and you'll probably notice more of that heading into Monday night into Tuesday, helping the coast out to a certain degree out that way, and starting to see a little more of that marine layer. Can you notice it? It's just there. It's ever so faint, but it is coming back, and that's going to help us to cool down quite a bit there, central and south coast, as that marine layer comes back in initially on Tuesday. The rest of us farther to the east, still going to have to wait a while before things do start to change a bit more for us, but still plenty of clear skies on into more of your Tuesday evening and Tuesday night. And then looking at what we're noticing as far as temperatures, tomorrow morning, we're getting up to about, to about the mid, maybe a few upper 60s around. Then we start to climb and we head into the afternoon, get back in those mid to upper 80s, some isolated 90s that will be back into the forecast for Monday. We do it all over again heading into Tuesday. And then we start to see our numbers climb back up into the upper 80s and lower 90s again heading into Tuesday afternoon. So looking at that forecast, you can see that is going to be plenty of clear skies and sunshine out there to kind of help things to warm things up. And one more thing I wanted to point out too with this, we do have an elevated fire risk that's going to be in place. Pointing out right here where we have our Bear Gulch fire, where we still are going to keep an eye out for some of that smoke haze to be around. There's some of it in place, and we've seen a little bit of a flare up here over the past day or so with it. There isn't a ton, though, showing up across our skies, which is great news. We don't want that to really get too widespread here as we head on into tonight, tomorrow, or either into the day on Tuesday. But you can see that it's out there. And another thing that this satellite imagery is showing you that is not widespread. So we're not dealing with a huge concern when it comes to air quality with this particular issue as of now. But we do have the dry vegetation out there, so we want to be really careful with all of our fires, and hopefully we are going to be able to keep those sparks to a minimum so nothing does flare up as far as any additional fires here as we head over the next few days. But check out the extreme drought that is now beginning to pop up there across the central and north Cascades. Back to the smoke, you can see across the skies we'll have a little bit of that haze showing up, but from time to time we'll see that flare up. We'll see that kind of die off as we head into the next day or so. You can see it kind of flares up again during the afternoon hours, 2 to about 7 o'clock. And then that starts to die off as we head on into the night and early into Tuesday morning. So kind of the ebbs and flows here when it comes to that fire smoke haze that we'll be dealing with here over the next day or so. As far as what that will mean for our air quality, tomorrow's forecast is looking to be more moderate in a few spots, but generally pretty green. Seeing a lot of that on there, meaning good air quality, so limited activity when it comes to that. And I wanted to go ahead and point this out because as we go later into the week, there's our system that's going to help to cool things down. It's the up north across Canada, and it's bringing some shower activity up there. That's going to be our front that will sweep on through. And as that moves southward, you'll start to notice that we'll start to get a little more of that onshore push heading into Wednesday. Again, that's going to be your cold front right there. That's going to sweep on through heading south. Continuing on here as we head on into more of Thursday, it should be pretty much overhead at that point. Now, don't think we're going to see much in terms of an issue as far as rain on Thursday quite yet, but that's something we'll keep an eye out for. Right now, our chances are more so heading into Friday and heading into Saturday as that system really starts to dig down and tries to help us out to bring some rain to the area. So we kind of go from one extreme to the next. It's going to be much cooler to go along with that rain. And that kind of hangs around through Saturday at least. Sunday, probably more partly sunny skies and the moisture heading off to the north yet again. But highs will come down from the upper 80s and lower 90s back into the mid 70s by Wednesday and Thursday, and then into the lower 70s heading on into the end of the week and at the start of next week on Sunday. Did want to point this out. 78 degrees, that's our normal high. Just started today. That average is now going to go down here as we head on into the end of the month and on into the rest of the season and much of the year. Which means climatologically we should be getting colder by this time now. Here's a look at your forecast as we head on into for the next few days. We're expecting tomorrow to be Tuesday to be a pretty warm one, and we'll get highs back up near that 90-degree mark. Lows tonight, though, for us will drop down into the low 60s around Bremerton, 59 in Shelton, 59 in Bellingham. Highs tomorrow getting up to about 85 in Plain, 86 in Mount Vernon, getting up to about 79 in Coopville, 84 in Everett, Linwood up to 83, upper 80s around Redmond, Issaquah 87, 88 in Bremerton, seeing some possible low 90s down this way around Belfair, Olympia, and in Yelm. Puyallup up to 91, 94 in Castle Rock, Morton getting up to 93, even 70s across the extreme south coast, and for most of the coastal areas, we'll see those 70s. Again, if you need relief, just go out to the immediate coastline. I think that's where you're going to find it. But farther inland, 90s again around Forks, 83 in Lake Crescent, and then 90 in Quilcene. Your 7-day forecast will feature a couple of pretty hot days. Again, remember, first alert days for Monday and Tuesday with our heat advisories in effect until 10 p.m. on Wednesday. Then things will start to cool back down and we'll get a lot more relief as we head on towards the end of the week. And hopefully we can get some rain out of those clouds as those start to return to go along with our cool down. Okay, everyone, well, just make sure to try to stay as cool as possible over the next few days. Wear that loose-fitted and light-colored clothing just to kind of help to reflect a bit more of that heat, and at the same time to try to limit your time and don't stress yourself too much in the direct sunlight, and drink plenty of water and stay hydrated. Okay, everyone, stay safe, stay cool, and we'll talk to you soon.